My first patient during my internship was a grumpy girl with cancer. She has a pretty but aloof face yet a terrible temper. On my first night shift she sneaked out in the middle of the night. During the night rounds bed 23 was empty. Only a crumpled sheet remained. And on the nightstand a pink thermos cup with some worn off paint. The phone is not being answered. I am going crazy. On my first night of internship I encountered this situation. I didn't dare to tell the teacher and could only keep messaging her. Ms. Bai, you were not in your room during rounds. Please return to your room as soon as you receive this message. This is my first night shift. If anything happens to you outside, I really can't take the responsibility. Please cooperate. About 3 minutes after the last message was sent, the phone vibrated slightly. Hospital right street dead end, come pick me up. Cut wrist, no strength. I was so scared my legs went weak. My hanging heart finally died. The alley was pitch black, the dim streetlights unable to reach into the lane. I suppressed my fear and called her name with a trembling voice. Bai Ningbing. A faint response came from ahead. As I got closer I saw someone sitting on the ground against the wall. The girl lazily leaned against the wall, bending one leg with her elbow casually resting on it. If you ignore her bleeding wrist, her relaxed posture is as if she is enjoying the night view. Oh my dear, you really cut your wrist. Without thinking twice I quickly gave her emergency bandaging. Does it hurt? Nonsense. Still chose to end your life despite the pain. I put on a stern face to scare her. Do you know that if the knife had been slightly off, what I would be looking at now is your corpse? Oh, she clicked her tongue. What a shame, next time aim a bit off. Wanting there to be a next time. I tie the gauze while staring at that pretty face. Frustrated by your lack of self-care. Do your parents know? You don't cherish your own life. The girl slowly lifted her eyelids to look at me. Uncle, do your parents know you love to meddle in others' business so much? I said unhappily. Call me brother. I'm only 2 years older than you. Then I helped her up indignantly. I was afraid she would lose consciousness, so I kept talking to her. Since you called me brother, can you tell me why you tried to kill yourself? Want to die? Isn't living good? Who would want to die if they're living well? I completely shut my mouth. There was no way to argue with her. All I could do was pant heavily and drag her out. Afraid she'd lose too much blood and die right there. And she still has the time to complain that I'm too skinny. She says my shoulder blades are too bony and uncomfortable. Shut up. I'm gritting my teeth. If you keep talking I'll bleed to death, you bastard. She scoffed. Her tone was extremely sarcastic. Just die then. Aren't you just afraid of losing your job? Her voice grew softer. Stop pretending to care. Look what a heartless bastard. Bai Ningbing didn't die and I didn't lose my job. Just got scolded by the teacher a couple of times. During breakfast, a colleague kindly reminded me that bed 23 is notoriously bad-tempered. Several groups of people have already been replaced. Don't take it to heart. Just pretend you didn't hear what she says. As long as it doesn't violate the principles, let her do whatever she wants. I nodded while chewing on a cold bun. I got it, thanks. He leaned in to say something more to me, but was suddenly called away by the ringing pager. I gnawed on a meat bun with barely any filling. Opened the medical record of bed 23. Bai Ningbing, female, 19 years old, terminal bone cancer. Those 4 words that almost pronounced a death sentence. Placed alongside her name and age. The second day of taking over Bai Ningbing, I witnessed how difficult she could be. She refused to cooperate and wouldn't get the shot. She leaned against the headboard scrolling through her phone without even lifting an eyelid. Straight up acting unreasonable. Can this damn thing save my life? I tried to persuade her, but only active treatment offers hope of recovery. You're still young. Hope. She cut me off, tilting that pretty apathetic face, looking at me with sarcasm. Brother, don't you know that giving someone hope, only to let them die in despair amidst that hope, is an extremely cruel thing? Forget it, she scoffed. There's nothing to say to you able-bodied people. If it were me, I would calmly look into her eyes and repeat, if it were me I would actively seek treatment to fight for that slim chance of survival. What if I make it through? She looked away. I'm not that stupid to believe in such a fairy tale ending. She glanced at the badge on my chest and read my name. Fang Yuan, I don't do injections. Go, don't make me curse. 2 brief encounters. I had already seen her negativity, so I didn't try to persuade her. Instead I secretly pinched my own thigh. The sudden pain brought tears to my eyes. But if you refuse the injection the boss will scold me. I might even lose my job. Without a job I won't even have money for food. Bai Ningbing frowned and looked at me with disgust. Are you emotionally blackmailing me? Aren't you ashamed of blackmailing someone who's about to die? I stayed silent, only gazing at her with tearful eyes. After a while Bai Ningbing lost. I'm convinced. She reluctantly extended her hand. The hospital gown sleeve casually rolled up, revealing her slender wrist bone. Grumbling, she agreed to the injection. I knew it last time she even cut her wrist. Seeing my pleading text, she still agreed to let me pick her up. This person's mouth is harder than stone, but her heart is softer than tofu. However, perhaps due to nervousness, I missed the vein slightly with my first career injection. Even after several adjustments of the needle position, I still couldn't find the vein. Bai Ningbing pressed her temples and said helplessly, dancing in my veins, Big brother got lost, right? I pulled out the needle and broke into a nervous sweat. I was too guilty to look at her. Sorry, this time it will work. I thought Bai Ningbing would scold me. Instead she laughed in anger, using me for practice. Bai Ningbing stayed in that position. Go ahead, old man. Thank goodness the injection worked. I breathed a sigh of relief and smiled at Bai Ningbing. Thanks for helping me. She closed her eyes and spoke irritably. Who helped you? I just find you annoying. Finish the acupuncture and leave quickly. I need to sleep. Got it. I packed up and left, took 2 steps. Then turned back to look at her, pointing at the name tag. By the way, my name is Fang Yuan, not Yuan. Silly girl. Coming home from work, I was greeted by the aroma of food wafting towards me. Son is back. Mom is sitting at the dining table gnawing on duck neck. Come quick, mom bought you a little cake. The one from the east side you love the most. My mom has been married for over 20 years. Completely spoiled by my dad like a princess. In her 40s but more youthful at heart than me. Alright, I just picked up the cake when my dad tapped my hand to eat first. He winked at me. Dad made your favorite braised pork. Leftover garlic sprouts and tiger skin green peppers. I immediately gave in. These 3 are my favorite dishes to go with rice. Braised pork sauce drizzled over rice mixed with overnight garlic stems. Paired with a fragrant but not spicy tiger skin green pepper is amazing. Dad's cooking skills are as good as ever. After eating and drinking, my dad went to the kitchen to wash the dishes. I held the freshly washed strawberries and snuggled with my mom on the sofa watching TV. I couldn't help but feel grateful for such happy days. I truly wish heaven could give me another 100 years. But somehow I suddenly thought of Bai Ningbing. She should be alone now. Lying on a hospital bed filled with the smell of disinfectant. Sleeping with her head buried. She is a girl with a weird temper, sharp tongue, and strangely silent personality. When others hurt, they cry out in pain. She just bites her lip and endures silently. What a silly girl. Before bed, I came across a content creator with the ID Ningbing. Dark toned, depressing imagery. Paired with nihilistic and world-weary text. I despise anything related to love. This world is rotten and decaying with filth and decay everywhere. Death and decay are the ultimate end of all things. There should not exist something that can bring hope to people. All that is beautiful should be destroyed, dirted and dragged down from the altar. Accompany me in the fall all the way to the abyss. The comments section is filled with negative sentiments. Some even subtly arranged group suicides in the comments. It's absolutely terrifying, and the blogger's IP address is from the same city. The moment I saw the picture and the text, I inexplicably thought of Bai Ningbing. Plus the name Ningbing in the other person's name. I was almost certain of her identity. After hesitating, I tried to persuade them in the comments not to give up on life. Life is beautiful as long as you live, things will get better. But half an hour later, my comment had dozens of replies underneath. Uniform criticism playing the saint, huh? The needle doesn't prick you, so of course you can talk without feeling the pain. You think living is so blissful. Just live your own life then. Responding to the overwhelming flood of malice left me at a loss for how to reply. I could only silently exit the phone screen. Perhaps, as Bai Ningbing once said, I just can't help meddling in others' business. Because I live in a very happy family. I feel that life is beautiful and everything is hopeful. During the morning rounds, Bai Ningbing was curled up under the blanket. Her face had a pale, weak look. What's wrong? She closed her eyes and ignored me. Are you in pain again? Still ignoring. She gets annoyed if I ask more. Lifting her eyelids weakly to snap at me. I'm dying, okay? Leave me alone. My hand holding the pen paused. Since I had figured out her temper, I didn't get angry. Instead of taking the initiative, showing weakness, please cooperate with me. If I don't clarify, I'll get scolded. Bai Ningbing rolled her eyes and snapped, what a hassle. But still obediently answered, spine pain, back pain. A constant, unrelenting, sharp pain like a knife digs deep into the bone. Is that detailed enough to describe the agony worse than death? She looks away, I need to sleep. Okay, thank you. Before leaving, I stuck a colorful post-it note on her bedside. Bai Ningbing glanced at it and scoffed. Are you treating me like a kid, brother? But she didn't throw it away. On the pink sticky note was written a line I once read in a book. The wind can lift a sheet of paper, but it cannot blow away a butterfly. For the power of life lies in resistance. During lunch break, chatting with colleagues. Brother Yuan, how did you handle bed 23? She hasn't caused any trouble since you took over. Yeah, she never stopped before you. I poked at my rice and smiled. She's not a bad person at heart, just a bit quirky. Like a bristly little cat that just needs to be stroked the right way. As I was speaking, a group of people suddenly emerged from the elevator. The leading woman was wearing a bright red trench coat. Her high heels gave her an imposing presence. Noticing me looking in that direction, my colleague Chenze gently tapped my leg and whispered, Bed 23, her mom. I froze. He looked so young, at most 30 years old. Chenze shook his head and sighed. Wait, they're going to argue again. In just a few minutes, a piercing roar came from room 8. Who told you to come here? Get out. Hearing her voice hoarse from shouting, I couldn't help but feel a bit worried. Suddenly the call bell for bed 23 rang. I hurried over. As soon as I entered, I heard her mother whisper in persuasion. Ningbing, I know you have a prejudice against me, but your health is your own and we should still treat your illness. Strangely, there was someone behind holding a camera and recording a video. Bai Ningbing was standing by the bed, barefoot on the floor tiles, her face particularly grim. She looked at me and shouted, Nurse, they're disturbing my rest, make them leave. I can only advise the family that the patient is emotionally unstable right now. You should leave for now. Let her get some rest. All right. They don't seem unreasonable. She looked at Bai Ningbing and said, take a good rest. Feel free to call me anytime if anything comes up. We are all family. Besides, you wouldn't want the deceased. Gun. Bai Ningbing cut her off, grabbed a nearby glass and hurled it. The glass skimmed the woman's forehead and smashed against the wall, shattering instantly. The group quickly escorted the woman out of the ward and it finally quieted down. Get in bed. I didn't realize how abrupt my words sounded. Staring at the floor, I reminded her the tiles were too cold. Bai Ningbing didn't respond but obediently climbed onto the bed. Her hand on the edge of the bed clenched into a tight fist. The veins on the back of her hand slightly protruded. Looking up again, I noticed her eyes were actually red. My steps ready to leave involuntarily paused. I asked softly, "Are you okay?" She turned her head away without speaking, buried herself in the blanket and bit her cheek hard to suppress her emotions. I worry that intense mood swings might affect her condition. Whispering to comfort, "Is there some misunderstanding between you and your mom?" Bai Ningbing lifted her eyelids and snapped, "Who told you she's my mom? That's the third woman my dad found." Her tone was sharp. "My mom was killed by him long ago. You know nothing yet you're here preaching. Could you not be so disgusting?" Her reddened eyes and the faint sarcasm in her words instantly stung me. Especially the word disgusting. I suddenly thought of the overwhelming flood of curses in the comment section that night. In an instant, overwhelming emotion surged through me. I even felt like crying. Truth be told, I don't understand why people respond to my kindness with mockery. Afraid that children with immature values might be influenced by negative online content to give up their lives. Afraid that patients might worsen their condition due to emotional distress and try to offer well-meaning advice. All these end up being seen as meddling. As I walked out of the ward, Bai Ningbing's voice came from behind. She seemed hesitant. "Dr. Fang." I didn't stop, my heart heavy as if soaked in a cup of lemon water. Bai Ningbing was the first patient I took over and also the most difficult troublemaker. I pay attention to her condition every day, accompany her, encourage her and try to cheer her up. I have to admit, for this pretty girl who is only 2 years younger than me, who is just an adult but already fading fast, I always seem to pay a bit more attention to her than to other patients. I don't dare to think deeply about what that means. After that day, my relationship with Bai Ningbing took a sharp turn for the worse. She reverted to her old temper and started tormenting me again, not cooperating with work. I silently endured without saying a word. This near-Cold War situation lasted for a week, until Friday when I was checking the 4 bottle for bed 20, and got scolded by the family member. The reason was that bed 20 pressed the call button, saying his 4 wasn't dripping. I went to check and confirmed the needle wasn't displaced, then pinched the 4 tube to see if it was clogged. However, the female patient suddenly started yelling, "Did you wash your hands before squeezing the tube? What if it causes backflow or lets air in?" I haven't encountered this situation before and awkwardly withdrew my hand to explain. "This won't cause backflow and certainly not. You say no, then no." She rolled her eyes and scolded me. What does an intern know? Not even fully grown yet and already lecturing me. "Where's your supervisor? Get her over here." The prolonged illness had reduced her to skin and bones. Her slightly upturned eyes appeared even more sharp and mean. My explanation was drowned out by her increasingly raised tone, until her husband pushed the door open. "What's going on?" The previously domineering female patient suddenly burst into tears. "This new doctor is deliberately targeting me, messing with my 4 tube, having a terrible attitude and even scolding me." The patient in the next bed couldn't stand it anymore. "The doctor has been very patient and explained everything to you, yet you started yelling at them right away." Her husband's face darkened as he scolded him. "What's the matter with him? Isn't he just here to serve us? If he feels wrong, then he shouldn't do this job. My wife is sick, can't you just give her a break? What's wrong with the angel in white? Can angels scold patients?" I couldn't help but retort that I didn't scold her. The man grabbed me by the collar and shoved me, about to throw a punch. Relatives from the next bed rushed over to break up the fight. The scene was in complete chaos. Suddenly someone blocked my way, kicked the man in the wrist. He cried out in pain and let go. "It's Bai Ningbing." She pushed me back. Without saying another word, she grabbed the thermos nearby and threw it. I snapped back to reality and quickly pulled Bai Ningbing away. "I'm fine. Don't be impulsive." She glanced at me to make sure I was okay before tossing the thermos and pointing at the middle-aged woman, yelling, "If you can't afford treatment, then pack up and go home. Stop trying to scam people everywhere. And if you're looking for trouble, come find me next door. Anyway, I'm about to die, so causing some chaos won't be a loss. The medical staff are quite busy. This has nothing to do with them." Got it. The couple clearly bullied the weak and feared the strong, nodding repeatedly. At this moment, I suddenly noticed traces of blood spreading around the needle mark on Bai Ningbing's raised hand. She must have heard the noise and pulled out the needle to run over. This fool. It's unclear whether Bai Ningbing's madness intimidated the couple, until bed 20 was discharged a week later. They never caused trouble again, let alone complained about me. My relationship with Bai Ningbing also improved somewhat. That night, Chenze held my arm and sighed. "You two finally made up. You have no idea how dark bed 23's face was. That week you were giving each other the cold shoulder. I almost wanted to take a detour. When this person goes crazy, no one can stop them." My face turned red. "Stop talking nonsense. It sounds like Bai Ningbing and I are a couple." I packed up my things and got ready to leave work. Chenze was busy gossiping beside me. "Brother Yuan, you're only 2 years older than her, right?" "Yeah." Chenze sighed. "You two are really a good match. It's just a shame about her illness. I'm leaving now." I was too embarrassed to keep listening. I couldn't even wait for the elevator and ran into the stairwell, only to unexpectedly bump into a familiar figure. The person froze and cursed without turning around. Damn, what awful luck. I thought Bai Ningbing would obediently follow me back to the ward, but she paused and suddenly ran downstairs. I chased after her out of breath, only to watch her get into a taxi. Worried that something might happen to her, I also hailed a cab. "Driver, follow that taxi ahead. The driver was nosy, chasing your girlfriend. A young couple had a fight. I casually dealt with that bastard cheating on me." "Hold on tight," the driver said. "Seriously, my driving skills are top-notch. I'll definitely catch up with that girl for you." The driver didn't lie to me, steadily chasing her to a slum in the city. The meter shows 42 yuan. I hand the driver a 50 yuan bill and say thanks, no need for change. Bai Ningbing didn't seem to notice I was following her. She just wore her yellow bracelet and wandered into the alley full of life, finally stopping in front of a stir-fried rice noodle stall. The boss is a very young boy. He looks about the same age as Bai Ningbing. Very thin with a sharp jawline and speaks briskly. I heard him call her Bai Ningbing and ask why she hadn't come for so long. They seemed very familiar. I suddenly remembered a casual conversation. Bai Ningbing mentioned she had someone she wanted to protect. Is he the boy Bai Ningbing wants to protect? This realization inexplicably makes my chest feel tight. Maybe it's just the smoke from the nearby stall irritating me. Wang Lin. I heard her call him. Hungry, fry 2 bowls of noodles, 1 extra spicy and extra vinegar. The boy looked up in confusion. When did you start eating spicy food? Bai Ningbing suddenly turned her head and looked at me through the mist. You've been following me all this way without having dinner. No guts to give me a shot but plenty to stalk me, huh, big brother? I was caught off guard and stood there awkwardly. I even forgot to urge her to hurry back to the hospital. The guy instantly put down the spatula and looked at me warily. Who is he, like a bristling dog? Doctor. Bai Ningbing said lightly. My mood sank again. The boy's expression softened as he silently turned on the stove. Bai Ningbing asked him, let me help you. No need. He pushed her far away. The smoke is really choking. Stay away. I couldn't help but size up the guy. He was very thin. Standing around 1.8 meters tall, he looked like he weighed no more than 50 kilograms. Yet he swung that seemingly heavy iron wok with impressive vigor. Soon 2 plates of fried noodles were ready. He slammed one down in front of me. His face openly sour. Enjoy your meal. Bai Ningbing seemed to have grown accustomed to the guy's bad temper. She handed me a pair of disposable chopsticks with a smile and said, try the fried rice noodles he made, they're absolutely amazing. I took a bite and instantly burst into tears. Not because it was delicious, but because it was painfully spicy. The noodles were loaded with hidden chili and drenched in a lethal amount of vinegar. One bite and the ultimate sour and spicy flavors explode on the taste buds. Bai Ningbing was startled by my tears. Didn't mind that I had already eaten the noodles. Picked up the chopsticks and took a bite. Instantly changed expression. Wang Lin. The boy is cleaning up in front of the pot, feeling so guilty that he doesn't even dare to look up. What's wrong? Didn't you tell me to make it extra spicy and sour for that uncle? Uncle. I almost had a heart attack hearing that. Suddenly I remembered the first time I met Bai Ningbing. In that pitch-black alley. She curled her lips and called me uncle with a sneering malice toward the world. These two are really alike. Bai Ningbing obviously thought of it too. She glanced at me and I rarely saw embarrassment on her face. You sit first, I'll go make it for you. She can even make stir-fried rice noodles. Not long after, a freshly cooked plate of stir-fried rice noodles with decent color, aroma and taste was placed in front of me. Go ahead and eat. How much is it? I'll pay myself. Also, after eating you need to go back to the hospital. You're still a patient, you can't run around. She waved impatiently. I know. Don't mention it, Bai Ningbing's cooking skills are really not bad. I finished a whole plate of stir-fried noodles and let out a satisfied burp. I looked up at her heading back to the hospital. Bai Ningbing laughed in exasperation. Seriously? Are you an NPC? She got up and walked to the boy's stall, throwing a bank card. Today is Qingzi's birthday. Originally wanted to buy her a gift. Haven't had much chance to go out lately. You take her to buy something. Save the remaining money for Qingzi's schooling. She held a cigarette in her mouth, glanced at me out of the corner of her eye. Paused while reaching for the lighter, then withdrew her hand. That guy's pretty smart, tell her to study hard and she won't go wrong. The guy handed the card back. I don't want it. Bai Ningbing's face darkened. You won't even listen to your sister. Stop with the nonsense, just take it. On the bus to prevent Bai Ningbing from running off again. I accompanied her back to the hospital before heading home. We sat side by side in the last row. The car window was open and the wind rushed in, tangling Bai Ningbing's long hair, but unable to disperse the clean purity about her. The youthful aura tinged with a hint of fragility. Unconsciously I asked her if he was her boyfriend. As soon as the words left my mouth I regretted it a little, afraid that Bai Ningbing might misunderstand something. I was about to explain but her voice came first. No. We grew up together like family, he's like a younger brother to me. He also has a younger sister. The siblings don't have much family and life has been hard for them. I thought Bai Ningbing would be too lazy to say much given her temperament. But she looked out the window and explained very patiently. He saved me when we were kids. I practically watched him and Orange grow up. They are like my own younger siblings. He just has a sharp tongue but means no harm. Don't mind what just happened. I quickly shook my head. It's fine, I wasn't really holding it against a young guy anyway. The bus was unusually empty. We sat in the very back row, listening to the wind howling and chatting idly. I don't know why. I always feel that Bai Ningbing tonight seems a little different from usual. To be precise, it's probably her state of being. Without the usual sense of misanthropy, she's much more relaxed and a bit calmer. It was as if because of something, she briefly forgave the world. Bai Ningbing and I returned to the hospital one after the other, watching her go back to her ward. Turning around I ran into Chenze. Fang Yuan, didn't you get off work? I came back to get something. I lied instinctively, not sure why. I, who always have an overwhelming urge to share, suddenly feel a bit reluctant to tell others what just happened. The unusually gentle girl on the bus feels like a secret shared only between me and Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing is about to start chemotherapy. She was initially very resistant. Resistant to taking medicine, resistant to injections, resistant to treatment. Somehow they suddenly became willing to cooperate. In those eyes that were as still as stagnant water, there seemed to ripple a hint of what could be called the will to survive. Bai Ningbing has always been in poor health. Chemotherapy is very taxing on the body with significant side effects. I worry about her and secretly encourage her all the time. During my daily rounds I quietly stick a note on her bedside. The handwritten words above are for her. Sometimes they are copied encouragements. Today I saw a line in a book. Life is not as good as you imagine. But it's not as bad as you think either. Human fragility and strength both exceed our own expectations. Sometimes it's praise. Today I heard the uncle in the next bed praising you. Saying your eyes are especially beautiful. Also saying although you don't talk much, there's kindness deep in your bones. That's what I think too. But more often it's some trivial yet somewhat beautiful. Or maybe a bit boring. Little things shared with her. Today I saw a beautiful blue butterfly. It flew 2 circles above my head as if saying hello. I heard there will be shooting stars at 9 p.m. tonight. Remember to make a wish. I want to make 3 wishes. First, I hope my parents and I as well as Bingbing can live to 100. Second, I hope I can win 5 million in the lottery this week. As for the third one, it's a secret for now. Bingbing always acts cold and never even glances at it. Next time I enter the ward, the sticky notes are sure to be torn off again. I often wonder if Bingbing has ever read a single word I write every day. One morning I wrote on a sticky note. Got scolded today, feeling a bit down. Hope you'll behave when getting the shot later. When I went to give her the injection later, Bingbing cooperated exceptionally well, obediently extending her hand. She didn't complain of pain or blame me for being slow. As I was about to leave, she tugged at my sleeve with her other hand and whispered, "Give." A piece of chocolate is pressed into her palm. She looks away, her expression slightly uneasy. When in a bad mood, eat something bitter to fight poison with poison. Stop sulking, that gloomy face is ugly. I stared at my palm for a while and smiled at her. Thanks. But Bingbing wasn't accurate. That piece of chocolate I ate wasn't bitter at all, it was sweet. The side effects of Bingbing's chemotherapy haven't appeared yet. But my world was suddenly struck by a bolt from the blue. I found my dad's secret in his phone. He is having an affair with that single mother from his company. The one with a daughter. I've seen her a few times and always called her Aunt Wang. Even her 7-year-old daughter is my father's illegitimate child. In my father's phone, I found another WeChat account he forgot to switch out of, specifically used to contact Aunt Wang's daughter. Also joined the parent group of the child's elementary school. This is the first time in 20 years I've seen my dad cry. He was sobbing bitterly and slapping himself hard. A Yuan, Dad was wrong. Dad is sorry to your mom. Dad is not a human. Slaps came one after another. In just a few hits his cheeks were swollen and red. I frowned at him, feeling a bit heartbroken. But more than that, it was the sadness and numbness after the shock. I've heard people say since I was a child how much Dad loved Mom. I have always witnessed his love for my mom. For over 20 years of marriage, he has spoiled her like a princess, taking care of everything himself, truly ensuring she never has to lift a finger. They rarely fought in every argument she could remember. Dad would give in within half an hour, then cook a table of Mom's favorite dishes to cheer her up. But the man who loved Mom so much had another family outside, even a 7-year-old daughter. Dad begged me in tears. And it was Dad's fault. Dad will cut all ties with them. You can't tell Mom about this. You know how Mom is. She can't stand the slightest wrongdoing. Yuan, you can't destroy our family. Did I destroy this family? I closed my eyes to hold back the grief. From the moment you decided to have another home outside, our family was already ruined. I still chose to tell Mom about this. She has the right to know everything. I don't want her to one day find out everything and despairingly realize that everyone has been hiding the truth and deceiving her, including the son she carried for 10 months and gave birth to. I trembled as I told her everything. I also showed her the photos and videos. My mom remained calm the whole time. It was eerily calm. That woman who once drank with her best friend until her cheeks turned rosy and loudly declared, "Fang Hai, if you ever dare to have another woman, I swear I'll kill you, bastard." In the face of true betrayal, she calmly accepted everything. Mom, I looked at her with heartache. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." She could even manage to smile. "Does Mom look like anything's wrong?" She took a bottle of red wine from the liquor cabinet, poured a glass, sat cross-legged on the sofa and took small sips. "It's just an affair, no big deal." After finishing the glass, my mom spoke up. "Call your dad. Tell him to come back for dinner." I stared blankly at my mom as she walked into the kitchen. She tied on her apron and started cooking. But in reality she hadn't really cooked much in years. My dad came back quickly. As soon as he entered, he took one look at my face and understood everything. He hurried to the kitchen, his hand already on the door. But then it was as if someone had drained his strength. In the end the door was never opened. Just standing quietly outside the glass door, rooted to the spot, until my mom came out with the dishes. She made 4 home-style dishes lacking in color, aroma and flavor. Cold lotus root salad, poached shrimp, spicy and sour shredded potatoes, and a plate of stir-fried tomatoes with eggs. My dad reached out tremblingly to help her carry the dishes. My mom didn't refuse and even smiled at him. "Let's eat." My dad suddenly knelt down before her and began slapping himself hard. He apologized over and over. "I was wrong, I'm not human. I shouldn't have done such a beastly thing." In stark contrast to my father's sobbing was my mother's calmness. She poured wine and only then glanced at him. "Get up, what kind of sight is a grown man kneeling on the ground? Seeing my dad is nothing." Her tone darkened. "Don't act like a coward in front of our son. You dared to do it for so many years. Now that you're caught, why cry? Get up and eat first." This meal was the most painful and oppressive one our family of 3 has ever had. I couldn't figure out my mom's attitude. She ate and drank as if nothing was wrong the entire time, until she put down her chopsticks. These 4 dishes were what we had when we first met, remember? My dad nodded, but his eyes turned red again. "I remember." My mom was clearing the dishes. Her tone was calm, as if mentioning the dish lacked salt. "Eat this dish one more time and our marriage will be over." Let's get the divorce papers at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow morning. The house was in complete chaos. My dad drank a lot of alcohol. He kept repeating the same 2 sentences. I won't get divorced, I'll never get divorced. He kept apologizing to Mom. At one emotional moment he cried and held Mom's hand. Ignoring her struggles, he roughly pulled her into his arms, trying to coax her as he had done in the past. I stepped forward to stop him but was suddenly slapped by my dad. The slap was loud and more painful. He glared at me with red eyes. Haven't I been good enough to you all these years? Now your mom wants to divorce me. Are you happy that our family is falling apart? You're insane. My mom screamed. She didn't hesitate to return the slap for me, but it still wasn't enough. She had been calm and accepting all along, but suddenly went berserk, kicking and punching her father. How dare you hit my son? You did shameless things yourself. How dare you blame your son? Get out of here, just get out. I have never seen a mother like this. Furious, hysterical, out of control. Mom, I held her tightly with a pained heart. You still have me, you still have me. In fact, Mom's previous calm was all forced. After Dad left, she cried in my arms until she was choked with sobs. I think she never doubted in this life she would grow old with Dad. Never imagined that the man who had cherished her for over 20 years would deceive her all along. Mom fell asleep in tears. I lay beside her staring at the ceiling. Yet sleep eluded me completely. Suddenly the phone vibrated with a message from Bai Ningbing. Did you see the meteor I made a wish? After a while, when I didn't reply to the message, Bai Ningbing took the initiative to ask me again. Why don't you ask me what I wished for? I typed numbly, what did you wish for? I hope my illness will get better. I hope Dr. Fang can always be happy. I don't know if it's fate. Bai Ningbing tonight has a tenderness beyond her usual limits. Make 2 wishes and let the easier one come true. I don't know why the stiff and numb me who had been holding on all along, the me who didn't even cry when slapped hard by the dad who had doted on me for 20 years, suddenly burst into tears the moment I saw Bai Ningbing's message. Tears blurred my reply on the screen. Let Bai Ningbing recover quickly. This is relatively easy to achieve. The next day when I walked into room 8, Bai Ningbing's gaze immediately fell on my face. When I gave her the injection, she didn't act up again. Just stared at my face and whispered softly, "You're unhappy, something's on your mind." Not a question but a certainty. I lowered my eyes and adjusted the 4 needle. I don't know why, but every time Bai Ningbing shows concern for me, I feel an urge to cry until the needle is inserted. When I asked Bai Ningbing about her condition last night, she looked at me earnestly and said it didn't hurt. The old man in the next bed chimed in. Doesn't it hurt? This girl in bed 23. Her face was pale from pain last night, yet she kept typing on her phone. Young people shouldn't push themselves too hard. If something's wrong, you should tell the doctor. I quickly walked back. Why didn't you say anything when you had a reaction last night? Bai Ningbing tilted her head and remained silent. After carefully inquiring about last night's condition, Bai Ningbing suddenly explained in a very soft voice. You were in a bad mood and I didn't want you to worry. So silly. Before leaving, Bai Ningbing called me back again. After hesitating for a long time, she pointed to the bedside. Sticky note. She pulled out a yellow one from somewhere. It was yesterday's sticky note. His tone was so cold it almost sounded aggrieved. Haven't gotten today's yet. After a busy morning, I finally have time to write a note for Bai Ningbing. But every time I pick up the pen, I can't think of what to write. Suddenly I understood why people used to call me naive. Growing up in happiness makes one see only the kind and beautiful side of the world. I tried to tell others that life is beautiful and full of hope, but forgot that they were already stuck in the mire and could not see the light. Today's sticky note was torn and rewritten. Finally, I didn't copy any uplifting or healing words. I just wrote very seriously that today my mood is terrible. Really, really terrible. But seeing you seems to make it a little better. I hope you feel the same when you see me. After writing it, I feel a bit flushed, afraid that my heartbeat might leak through the scattered words and be discovered by her, hesitating whether to tear off the note. Suddenly it was snatched away. Looking up, I saw Bai Ningbing holding up and 4 drip in one hand and the sticky note in the other. Her gaze swept over me and I grew a little nervous, worried she would understand, yet also worried she wouldn't. Bai Ningbing stared for a long while without any noticeable change in facial expression. Just quietly put away the note. She spoke softly and laughed. Me too. Until she walked away holding the 4 drip again. Only then did I realize she meant me too. Also feeling a bit better when seeing you on night shift tonight at 2 a.m. I went to the restroom, but when passing by the stairwell, faint sounds caught my attention. Through the slightly ajar door I saw Bai Ningbing, clad in a hospital gown, hunched over, gripping the handrail tightly in tears from pain. Hearing the door push open, she stood stiffly upright, unwilling to let others notice her vulnerability, until I softly called her Bai Ningbing. After a long pause, she turned around and sat down on the stairs along the railing, elbows resting on knees, knuckles pale from gripping too tightly. I crouch in front of her. This seems to be the first time I've been this close. Looking at Bai Ningbing straight on, she has a breathtakingly beautiful face. Her delicate features are gentle, yet her temperament is terrible. In the past, when she looked at people with lowered eyes, it always gave off a misanthropic illusion. Does it hurt a lot? I offer her my hand. You can pinch me if it hurts. Bai Ningbing stares at my hand, motionless, but her face turns pale from the pain. She furrows her brows, enduring it silently. Still stubborn. No. I don't know why. The tears I've held back for so long suddenly fell. Bai Ningbing clearly shouldn't be a good person to confide in. Yet in this silent and lonely night, suddenly I couldn't help but pour out my heart to her like beans from a bamboo tube. Bai Ningbing listened quietly, and then, holding back the pain, she gently took my hand. Her hands were cold with a hint of sweat in the palms. slightly damp yet not unpleasant. She seemed to want to speak several times, but didn't know how to comfort me, finally whispering about her past. At age 2 her dad caught her mom cheating. He went to confront the mistress and died in a car accident after an argument on the road. Her father quickly married into the mistress's family, and Bai Ningbing became the most unwelcome presence in her stepmother's eyes. They named her Bai Jian. As long as she was at home, Bai Ningbing wasn't allowed to eat at the table and could only squat by the side. Her weak live-in father dared not speak out but occasionally held her with a pained heart, only telling her to endure. And this endurance lasted over a decade. If it weren't for the stepmother's celebrity status and the need to maintain a good stepmother image in public, no one would have raised her or paid for her medical treatment. After she fell ill and was hospitalized, her father never visited her once. Her stepmother came twice. Each time she brought people along to stage photos and gain some clout. She held my hand and softly recounted these painful and humiliating past experiences. Our hands tightly clasped together held no hint of romance. Just two people offering each other pure comfort. The warmth in our palms spreads to each other, until her hand gradually grows warm too. My tears keep falling at first because of my parents, but now it's all because my heart aches for Bai Ningbing. She has suffered so much, her childhood was already so miserable. Yet heaven didn't even give her a chance for future happiness. I heard the doctor say her condition is not optimistic. Bai Ningbing asked me why I was crying again. I didn't dare to say it was my heartache for her. Deliberately changing the subject I mentioned that day, when I saw a blogger from the same province named Ningbing. To my surprise, the other person wasn't Bai Ningbing. I showed her the video from that day. Bai Ningbing glanced at it twice and handed it back to me, explaining very seriously, "It wasn't me. My first reaction to encountering something beautiful is not to destroy it." She quietly looks into my eyes, speaking softly and slowly, but to protect it. I like a flower without thinking of picking it or ruining it, but just want to quietly watch and wait for the flowers to bloom. She raised her hand to wipe my tears and told me, "You are tender-hearted and kind. These are the most beautiful qualities in you. Don't care what others say about you." She turned her wrist to show me, covered in dense old scars. "I've listened to everything you said. I haven't attempted suicide or hurt myself again." She looked at me and smiled. I think Dr. Fang was right. There is still so much beauty in this world. In the cold, gloomy stairwell that early morning, two hearts comforted each other, becoming a fleeting redemption for one another. We cheered each other up, saying we would wait for Bai Ningbing. After the chemotherapy, when she got better, we would take a bus to the northernmost part of our country, go to the primeval forest together and see the aurora. When it comes to my family, my dad has always refused to agree to the divorce. Every day he waits downstairs at home, waiting for my mom to soften her heart. She also looked for me many times, crying and apologizing, using lots and lots of happy moments from the past when we were a family of 3, trying to make me soften my heart. Upon learning this, Bai Ningbing earnestly told me, "Do not forgive him on behalf of your mother." Bai Ningbing was right. Whether to forgive him is up to your mother. After my night shift, I took a taxi home. Just as I arrived downstairs, I heard the sound of a struggle. My mom was holding a jacket, clearly having come down to pick me up, but was stopped by Dad downstairs. With red eyes, he said, "Honey, I really know I was wrong. Can't you really give me one more chance? Over 20 years and you're just leaving like this. Do you really not care?" His voice choked up. "Tell me honestly. Apart from this, I've kept nothing from you these 20 years. Have I ever treated you unfairly? I can't bear to see you go out to earn money. I can't bear to see you do housework. I just want you to be happy and comfortable at home. Just because of this one mistake, are you going to deny my 20 years of dedication?" My mom looked at him calmly. Her voice was shattered beyond recognition. "No one has ever denied your past efforts. For over 20 years you have been good to me and a Yuan. Everyone has seen it. But merits and faults cannot always offset each other. This marriage is not just about your efforts alone. You love drinking and come home drunk every time. Even in the early hours I would get up to make you hangover soup. Clean up the floor you vomited all over. You care about face, so I give you all the respect in public. You don't like me being in the spotlight. So I gave up my career to take care of our son at home. Fang Hai, let's part on good terms. After 20 years of marriage, be a man and leave me with dignity. Don't make me look down on you." My parents finally got divorced. The divorce agreement was drafted by my mom. As the at-fault party, my dad left with nothing. The property and savings were left to me and my mom. The day my dad agreed to sign, his hand trembled violently. For a name of just 3 characters, he paused several times before finishing. I watched from the side but only felt irony. Bai Ningbing's chemotherapy side effects were getting worse, with vomiting and hair loss. She had lost over 10 pounds. The already slender girl now had a jawline so sharp it was frightening. My heart aches, and sometimes I even have to mentally prepare myself before entering the ward. The first time I saw her, she had slit her wrist and was sitting in a shabby alley, blood streaming down her hands. A face full of weariness, a body draped in negativity, yet still a carefree, beautiful girl. But in just a few short months, illness has worn her down to exhaustion. Protruding bones from drastic weight loss, hair lost to chemotherapy, forced to shave it all off, and an increasingly pale complexion. The moment I saw her, I couldn't help but want to cry. Instead, it was Bai Ningbing, the patient, who had to comfort me. "Dr. Fang, do you think my new hairstyle is cool? Getting the injection today didn't hurt at all. I ate 2 bowls of rice at noon. I feel so hungry I could eat an entire cow. Here, this is the new chocolate I bought. Next time you feel like crying, eat a piece of fighting poison with poison." Dr. Fang, I think I saw the blue butterfly you mentioned last time today. It was indeed very beautiful. The once rebellious, negative and eccentric girl, yet in her own days of suffering, kept trying to comfort me in her own way again and again. Dr. Fong, I was so busy I could barely keep my feet on the ground when I suddenly heard a vaguely familiar voice. Looking up, I unexpectedly saw Wang Lin. Beside him was a girl about 12 or 13. His eyes reddened as he looked at me and whispered, "Do you remember me?" Yes, I nodded. Bai Ningbing is in Ward 8. You can go over there, I'm a bit busy right now. Alright. I looked up after finishing my work and saw him still standing in the hallway. Can't find the ward. No, he sniffled. Brother Bai Ningbing, is she dying? He pronounced the last two words very softly, as if speaking them aloud would scare even himself. My heart sank and my nose tingled with sourness. Don't talk nonsense, you'll get better. Wang Lin lowered his head, tears streaming down his face. Sister Bai Ningbing never told us the truth. She just said it was gastritis and she was hospitalized for some treatment. I really believed it. Afraid he might see my reddened eyes, I lowered my head to tidy the desk, flipping the papers back and forth to straighten them. She didn't want you all to worry with her. Aren't you going in to see her? The two shook their heads. Sister Bai Ningbing is a very strong-willed person. She has always seen herself as the elder sister to me and Orange. Even though we are not related by blood, she has always been shielding us from the wind and rain. She is too proud to tell us. She doesn't want us to see her like this. He and his sister exchange a glance. Both are nearly choking back tears. We decided to pretend not to know. We'll just secretly take a look at her outside the ward. We saved some money and paid it all into Bai Ningbing's hospital fees. Please use the best medicine for her, you must save her. The young man spoke and even tried to kneel before me. I quickly stopped him. What are you doing? So many people are watching. Bai Ningbing's family has always been paying the hospital fees. She was given the best medicine available. I took a deep breath to suppress the endless urge to cry. We will do our best. Just then Bai Ningbing pressed the call button to request a medicine change. The siblings followed behind me, walking while crying very softly. I deliberately left the ward door open. When changing Bai Ningbing's dressing, she seemed a bit better and leaned against the head of the bed. Tell me the lame joke she just came across. A person who loves telling lame jokes. One day she went to the seaside to tell jokes and never came back. Why is that? Because the tsunami laughed. I laughed so hard it was really such a cold joke. Right? Bai Ningbing raised an eyebrow. I think so too. After a pause she glanced casually toward the door, quietly asking me if those two idiots had left. I froze. You already knew? Yet just now wanted to go to the bathroom. As soon as I stepped out, saw them standing there crying. Should I call them in? Bai Ningbing shook her head. Let them see me like this. They would definitely cry even harder. Besides, she let out a self-deprecating laugh. I look embarrassing like this? No you don't. I covered her with the blanket and murmured. Don't say that about yourself. The doctor said you're recovering well. After that day Wang Lin and his sister would come to the hospital almost every day, without entering the ward, just secretly peeking at Bai Ningbing from the doorway. Sometimes bringing some food and drinks. Tell me to give it to Bai Ningbing and say I bought it. But Bai Ningbing is too smart and I could never fool her. All three are good people, being so cautiously kind to each other, secretly caring for one another. It's just a pity Bai Ningbing's health didn't gradually improve as everyone had hoped. The chemotherapy failed to completely eradicate the widely spread cancer cells. Instead, the day-after-day treatments gradually drained her last remaining energy. Bai Ningbing has been actively seeking treatment. Her growing will to live has sustained her through this winter that saw 4 heavy snowfalls. Tomorrow is the start of spring. Bai Ningbing and I have made plans to eat spring pancakes together tomorrow. Then we will go for an outing by the grass near the inpatient building. Before going to bed, she kept murmuring about hoping to see that blue butterfly again during the outing tomorrow. But at 9 o'clock in the evening, Bai Ningbing suddenly started vomiting large amounts of blood. We found out and rushed her to the emergency room as quickly as possible. But she wouldn't let go of my hand. Her hand was terribly thin. The back of her hand was all bony with protruding veins, clutching my hand with desperate strength. I was sobbing uncontrollably. Listen to the doctor, they will save you, I'll wait for you at the door. Bai Ningbing, you've made it through so much, don't give up now. We still have to go hiking together tomorrow. She smiled at me slowly, then with difficulty shoved something into my hand before letting go. Bai Ningbing was pushed into the emergency room. I leaned stiffly against the wall as if all my strength had been drained. My body gradually softened and slid down. The object in her palm was warmed by her tight grip. I opened my hand to reveal a piece of chocolate. Unconsciously, the words Bai Ningbing once said echoed in my mind. When you feel bitter and want to cry, eat a piece of chocolate. Fight bitterness with bitterness, poison with poison. It feels like a giant boulder is pressing on my chest, suffocating me. I sit on the floor tiles outside the emergency room. My thoughts as if someone pressed pause, my mind a blank. After an unknown amount of time, the emergency room door opened. I saw the doctor walk out, but my legs were numb and lost all feeling. I couldn't stand up no matter how hard I tried. The doctor asked me if any of Bai Ningbing's family members had come. I shook my head and whispered no. Beside me, Chenze couldn't help covering his mouth. After spending so much time together, even Chenze, who once avoided Bai Ningbing the difficult patient, couldn't hold back his tears. I don't have a single tear left. My chest feels so tight I can barely breathe. Like a 1,000-pound boulder pressing on my heart. So suffocating. So breathless. I numbly pushed away the person trying to help me, frantically rummaging through my pockets. Where is the chocolate? Where is that piece of chocolate Bai Ningbing gave me? Finally found it. I trembled as I tore open the wrapping paper and desperately stuffed the entire piece of chocolate into my mouth. Bai Ningbing, you are right, suffering suppresses suffering so people don't want to cry anymore, but I did everything you said. Where are you? Bai Ningbing is a scoundrel, a liar. She made a promise with me for the start of spring but stayed forever. On the night before spring arrived, her departure was so sudden, so unexpected. It ended my spring with devastating force. After she left, I could no longer face the start of spring each year. Bai Ningbing's family never showed up during her emergency treatment. Yet they appeared after her passing. That woman broke down in tears on camera, claiming how pitiful it was for her young stepdaughter to die from a serious illness at such a tender age. Bai Ningbing's useless father was also kneeling on the ground, large teardrops falling heavily. Just not sure how much of those few tears were genuine and how much were regret. They held a grand funeral for Bai Ningbing. To maintain her image as a good stepmother, she spent a fortune to buy Bai Ningbing a burial plot with excellent feng shui. At the funeral, I saw Wang Lin and his siblings again. Their eyes were bloodshot and their faces full of grief. Yet they held back their tears, and so did I. Because Bai Ningbing once said she hated seeing us cry the most. She wanted everyone who came to see her off on her last day to be smiling. You could smile and tell her, "Bai Ningbing, you are amazing. You fought against this world till the very end." I followed the funeral procession to the cemetery before belatedly realizing that I had witnessed all the final moments of Bai Ningbing's life. Look at her face full of disdain as she commits suicide. Look at her actively seeking treatment. Look at her tormented by illness, losing her life and finally turning into a handful of ashes buried in the grave. Only a black and white photo remains on the tombstone. The girl in the photo has a beautiful resting bitch face, yet her eyes are full of clarity. Bai Ningbing left very few belongings. Only an old chocolate tin, containing dozens of carefully preserved sticky notes. It was everything I wrote to her. I picked up the note with trembling hands, only to find she had written a response on the back of each one. Her handwriting as bold and strong as she was. Since meeting Fang Yuan, life has been even more wonderful than I imagined. Today I heard the uncle in the next bed praise him. Said he was gentle and very handsome. I think the uncle is right. Today I saw the blue butterfly. Dr. Fang mentioned it was very beautiful. If I am not lucky enough to be cured, I hope I can turn into a blue butterfly and visit Dr. Fang one more time. I saw a shooting star tonight, but Dr. Fang wasn't here. Actually, I lied to him. I didn't make 2 wishes. It's a waste for a body like mine to make wishes. I only hope Dr. Fang can be happy for the rest of his life. Each one is filled with her unspoken responses. Dozens of sticky notes without a single word of love from her. Yet love resonates deafeningly in every stroke of the pen. Among Bai Ningbing's belongings was a suicide note written who knows how long in advance. It was in a very formal envelope. The cover was addressed to Dr. Fang. It took me a long time to mentally prepare myself before tremblingly opening the letter. Then I spent a great deal of time reading it bit by bit. Dr. Fang said regretfully, "When you see this letter, I have already left this world. It's hard not to be sentimental when imagining the scene after one's departure. Can't help but say what a pity. It's such a pity that I met someone who made me want to live for him during my most painful and helpless moments. But when you see this letter, it proves that I still failed. I still remember the first time I met you. Because of a soft heart, I told you my address. After waiting for a while, I saw a boy panicking as he ran into the alley. I don't know why at that moment I, who had no attachment to this world, suddenly didn't want to die anymore. To tease you, I jokingly called you uncle. Looking back, I was like a naughty silly kid in school who teased the girl he had a crush on. Thank you, Dr. Fang. You made me feel the beauty of the world. In the last days of my life. On the bus that day, you asked me if Wang Lin was my boyfriend. Knowing you were just casually asking. I know full well that this dying waste of a man will never have anything to do with you, yet I still can't help but explain myself to you. He is just a little brother, not my boyfriend. Because I don't want you to misunderstand that I like other boys. Too many words to say, but the paper is too shallow. Let's stop here. I hope, Dr. Fang, you can live a long and prosperous life. May you meet someone who truly, truly loves you. Signed with love, Bai Ningbing." Years later, I visited Bai Ningbing's grave again. After you left, Bai Ningbing. Now bed 23 is occupied by an uncle. He's really gentle and secretly gave me candy. Yesterday I picked up a stray cat. A little orange tabby, so tame. They were all such small things. Yet I couldn't help choking up in the end. Today I met a girl who was very beautiful. I think I fell in love with her at first sight. She looks a bit like you. Haha, just kidding. I gently touched her photo on the tombstone. I didn't meet any other girls today. I only saw your black and white photo. The girl named Bai Ningbing is forever frozen at her most beautiful age. Suddenly I looked up and saw a butterfly flying in the air. The blue one landed by the tombstone and lingered, wondering if it was staring at me. Unwilling to leave for a long time. My nose instantly stung. Bai Ningbing, is that you? Of course the butterfly wouldn't answer me. But that blue butterfly lingered by the tombstone for a long time. Then it circled twice above my head. Finally flew away until it disappeared. For some reason I thought of Bai Ningbing's reply, written on the back of a sticky note. If I wasn't lucky enough to be cured, I wish I could turn into a blue butterfly and visit Dr. Fang one more time. I see you, Bai Ningbing. You didn't break your promise. The end.